Hi, my name is Chris Durhan. Welcome to another episode of Drinks from Eddie Muller's Noir Bar. Each week I take a chapter from the book Eddie Muller's Noir Bar, Cocktails Inspired by the World of Film Noir, and I talk about the film in that chapter and make the drink associated with it. Today we are going to be looking at the film and drink of the same name, Dead Reckoning. Now, Dead Reckoning was released in 1947. It was directed by John Cromwell, and it starred Humphrey Bogart and Elizabeth Scott. Now, the premise of this movie is that Humphrey Bogart and his war buddy come back from the war. They're being flown into Washington, and they're not exactly sure what's going on and why they're being summoned back to Washington, but they figure out by looking at the clues that his buddy is actually winning the Congressional Medal of Honor. And as soon as he figures that out, he up and bails. He jumps off a train. Now this leaves Humphrey Bogart to figure out what happened with his buddy. He knows something is wrong, and he's going to try to figure it out and come to his aid. I like the premise. I think it's kind of an interesting premise. Doesn't necessarily add up to a very great movie. I don't normally do this, but what Eddie Muller says about this is really great, so I'm just going to read it. Dead Reckoning, 1947, has everything you want in a noir. A salty World War II vet on a mission of vengeance, played by Humphrey Bogart, no less. A steamy and sultry locale, St. Petersburg, Florida. A steamy and sultry film fatale, Elizabeth Scott. A nightclub casino run by a slick and smarmy gangster, a sexy chanteuse, Scott again, and lots of smoking, drinking, and gunplay. Yet somehow it doesn't quite work. There are a few too many cooks compiling this recipe. 5 screenwriter credits total. And director John Cromwell is not the kind of instinctive chef who knows how to throw out what to throw out and what to leave in to create an inspired and satisfying cinematic meal. Columbia Pictures was clearly trying to manufacture a hit to outdo Warner Brothers, Bogart's home studio. The ingredients are all there, but the final result is less than the sum of its parts. And I'll go along with that. It's not a great movie. I kind of found myself looking at different things, and I liked the premise. I thought the premise was really kind of cool. But a lot of the plot points and how they got there seem very contrived. Things like, he just happens to turn on the radio and it happens to flip over to the police band just in time for him to hear what happened to his buddy. He just happens to know a guy from driving a cab in St. Louis who now is in St. Louis and is in a position to be, crucial for him actually committing and pulling off a crime. The other thing that really kind of bothered me about it was it seemed like a lot of the dialogue was almost lifted from other movies. And it's not so much that it really was, but the phrasing in some of the lines of dialogue were very similar to the phrasing that Bogart used in films like To Have and Have Not and The Maltese Falcon. This probably didn't bother audiences at that time, because I don't think back in the 40s anybody would have seen, The Maltese Falcon, like 20 or 30 or 40 times like me, or To Have and Have Not 20 or 30 times. But for me, that kind of stuck out. It was all told in flashback, which normally doesn't bother me, but when I got done with the movie, I didn't even realize whether they resolved the flashback or not. In fact, I thought, wait, did they ever come back to the flashback? And then after about 10 minutes, I went, oh yeah, they did, in kind of a weird way. It's like he was talking to the guy and the guy left the room and then Bogart disappears, and that's how they resolved the flashback. It almost seems like they could have got rid of the flashback, but I'm sure they had too many bits of exposition that forced them to keep it. It really wasn't that great, and it should have been. I mean, you really think if you've got Bogart and Elizabeth Scott in a film noir, that should be enough to do it. And, you know, for me, the premise was interesting and I liked the premise. That really should have been something to make a good movie, and it just didn't work out. Did have also has Wallace Ford in it. He's good. He's not in it enough. Not in enough to really save this movie. It just really didn't come off the way it should have, and I really do get the feeling that, as Eddie Muller said, they were just trying to make a hit. They were trying to make a movie like a lot of other movies, in order to kind of capitalize on this, you know, this movement that was happening that we now know is film noir. They were just trying to make a movie like that, and it didn't really come off. Eddie does promise that the Dead Reckoning is much better than the movie itself. So we're going to make that when we come back. It does have a lot of ingredients, probably as many ingredients as any of the cocktails in the book. So we're going to make that one when we come back. And Eddie Muller promises that this one will indeed be better than the movie. So we're going to make that. I hope you stick around for it. Thanks. And we're back. So we are going to make the Dead Reckoning. I hope I have everything here, because there are a whole lot of ingredients in this thing. This is a shaker drink, so we're going to start by loading up our shaker with some ice. Okay, let's do one more. Okay. All right, now we're going to start. Eddie suggests a medium-aged gold rum, or a medium-bodied aged rum. I have Flor de Cana, which is not what he recommends, but I'm going to go with it because I have way too much booze at this point. So that's 1 ounce. And 2 ounce. And then we're going to do 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice. Okay, so 1 ounce of fresh lemon, 1 ounce of unsweetened pineapple juice. And yes, I'm using a can because that's what we had. If I can get the can open. Let's try this guy. Okay, 1 ounce of pineapple juice. Okay, and then a 1/2 ounce of grade A maple syrup. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to sit that like that. Let it drain a little bit better. And let's see, 1 ounce of tawny port, which I did not bother to open before I did this. So hopefully I can get it open on camera and not look like too much of a fool, but we'll see. It's a screw cap, which is always a good sign in the wine world. All right. Oh, no, it's not. It's a regular cap. Hey, yay. Okay. So we've got a 1/2 ounce of tawny port, which, if I remember correctly, was like an aged, oops, that would be 3/4, which is an aged port. Very dark looking. Okay. And then a 1/2 ounce of vanilla cognac, and I was able to find that in a airline bottle. And let's see, so I got that, and that. Okay. And then a dash of Angostura bitters. Okay, that's definitely a dash. Probably 2 dashes, but I don't think it's going to make a whole lot of difference here. Okay, so Put on our thing. Give it a good shake. Okay, and I'm going to let that sit for just a sec while I load up my glass with some ice, fresh ice. We're using a Collins glass on this. Okay, all right. Hopefully that will be enough ice. All right, now we're going to break this open and strain into our Collins glass. We're still missing one ingredient, which I think I probably should have done in the shaker afterwards. In fact, I'm going to do that in the shaker right now. We have, I think, hold on, I'm gonna have to look it up, sorry. Okay, so don't remember what didn't write down the club soda. 1 ounce of club soda. So 1 ounce of club soda. That's just spilled all over the place. Because, okay. All right, now we're going to strain this into our Collins glass and see what we've got. Okay. Well, it looks kind of pretty. Okay. All right, we have the Dead Reckoning. And let's give it a taste. Wow. That is really good. Definitely the drink over the movie. The movie was borderline crappy. I would probably watch it again if it came on, but wouldn't necessarily go out of my way for it, but this is pretty tasty. So we're going to, I won't even say anything more about Dead Reckoning the movie, but Dead Reckoning the drink, worth the effort. A lot of ingredients in here. Oh, I forgot my garnish. Garnish with a fresh mint sprig. So let's see if the mint helps as well. Okay, definitely this one is a winner. We're going to be coming, we're going to sign off now from kind of a beach shack in St. Petersburg, Florida, which doubles as Eddie Muller's Noir Bar, where we're sitting in a booth in the back and having this nice tropical concoction. We're going to say goodbye for now. Cheers.